The last time they've been beaten at home came back in 2012. A series you played in, Monty, and it's probably won alongside Cardiff in 2009. You were present but didn't play in Australia in 10-11. I was out there watching you play for England in 06-07, brought into the side for the third test. You took a 5-for on day one in Perth. And then, of course, famously, you were tonked a bit at Hamilton. Not Hamilton, at McLean Park in Napier on Tim Southey's debut. But you were on the winning side. But surely 2011-12, that famous series win in India, must be one of the first things you're always asked about when it comes to meeting cricket fans.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I keep reminding them that I think it's 4,758 days, since the last time a team has won in India. So, that was amazing. Look, it was Alistair Cook's first tour as captain, for England. We had, the great Kevin Pietersen, who would score very quickly against the Indian batsmen. And then myself and Swan, I think the key was that the pace that we bowled it at a quicker pace and got the ball to go up and down. And that what allowed us to get maybe, quick spin off the surface. So whenever they talk about spin bowling, they always say, what's the most, quickest pace you can bowl with good shape and get the ball to turn? That's what you want to do. And that we were, throughout that tour, I think probably bowled it quicker than the Indian spinners, and that was probably the advantage that we had over them.
What made it even more incredible was that England went 1-0 down in the series. Chesh Pujara, who has actually been mentioned in dispatches over the last couple of days after India was bowled out for 46. There are some still there who feel he should be playing in India's top six. At 206 not out, what was it like to bowl to him? Over upon over upon over.
Gosh, he was hard work. He was like the Rahul Dravid wall, really, to be honest, and he was unbelievable. His defence was really good. He was so hard to get out. If you bowled your really good deliveries, he'll play it late, and then get you to sort of think that you haven't bowled that much of a good delivery, so you bowl it slightly fuller, and then you pounce on it. Hit the drive really well. The key was his defence was amazing. Front foot and the back foot, and he would defend the good balls really well, and then made it so difficult for you. But someone like if you're bowling like to Sehwag or Dhoni, some of them kind of attacking batsmen, you always feel you're in the game. You always feel like they may chip one up in the air and you get the wicket. But against Pujara, there wasn't a weakness, unless it was his concentration, and that was it. So once he was set, he would bat for time, and I can see why they're talking about that, because you look at this Indian lineup right now, there isn't that sort of batsman who can bat all day. They all just come in, hit the ball hard, they play with high strike rates, and they're playing with that kind of flair, which can work, but also if it doesn't work, then like we saw in the first innings, there was a huge collapse because a lot of the Indian batsmen were playing really attacking shots on balls that they didn't need to.
Alistair Cook scored 176 in that first test match. England lost the match, but that innings actually gave the team a lot of heart, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I think Alistair Cook's record in the subcontinent is up there, even better than Matthew Hayden. And at that time, it was only everyone just talked about Matthew Hayden as being the best player coming into playing into subcontinent conditions. No one else as good as him. But Alistair Cook showed that, and his concentration, temperament, the mental toughness that he had, he'll just sweep the ball. If anything was short, he'll punch it on his leg stump, and then he'll just cut it. He was so good at making sure that he stuck to his game plan, and we batted around him, which in fact allowed the likes of Peterson, Bell, the likes of Pryor to play their attacking game. And I think that batting lineup was so strong that it's probably one of the reasons why we haven't seen another international team coming to India and actually beat India, is because you need batsmen to bat long periods of time, but also you need batsmen who can score quickly, and we had the perfect combination.
Well, absolutely. 2 changes for the second test, Johnny Bairstow and Stuart Broad coming in. I mean, of course, those two, Broad only retired last year, and Bairstow's only been out the side for the best part of 4 or 5 months, so it just showed what players they would become. They'd made their debuts before then, of course, but India won the toss. 1-0 up in the series. They put on 327, another century from Panesar. But you take fiver. Graham Swann took 4. And then Kevin Pietersen with one of the great, I would say, probably the best overseas century by an English player, if not ever, certainly in the last 20, 30 years.
Yeah, absolutely. That was probably an unbelievable innings that he played. I think he got about 180 odd, and he was just batting so well, so dominant, just going after the spinners, after the seamers, and in particular, he would play the high risk shots and really dominate the attack. And when he was on top of his game, bowlers did not have any answer, to bowl to Kevin Pietersen. And I remember when I bowled to Kevin Pietersen, he would say to me, "I'm going to take my pads off." He goes to me, he always say to me, "Please bowl it quick into my legs." I go, "Why?" He goes, "I want to move my feet quickly and then I can maneuver the ball." And at the start I said, "What if I hit you on the shins?" He goes, "Don't worry about it." He goes, I will find a way of moving my feet really well. And he just did over and over again, and then you could see his footwork is immaculate. He always played with the bat, never with the pad. And his game just got so much better because of that. And, that was probably one of the best innings we've seen by an Englishman playing in India.
And what about you then? You took 6 for in the second innings, 10 for the match. India bowled out for 142. England wrap-up victory. That must have been quite a dressing room to be in following that match.
Oh, yeah, unbelievable. We were so delighted with the turnaround that we showed. And, in fact, what happened, right, was that Duncan Fletcher's kind of wanted a turning wicket because he felt that with a turning pitch, that India were able to beat England. But in fact, it helped us because myself and Graham Swann, we were brought up playing turning pitches at Northampton, Wanted Road. So we exactly knew how to bowl on these kind of pitches. And it kind of backfired. And if it was a flat wicket, I think India probably would have won that test match. But because it was a turning pitch from day one, so he was effectively playing on a day 4 pitch because there was already a Ranji Trophy match being played on there, that we exactly knew what to do, how to bowl on these kind of pitches. So it kind of felt like, being on Wanted Road at Mumbai and just both of us, me and Swanee, just bowling together in tandem. It was like a dream, to bowl there together for England and actually, winning a game. And what a victory it was in Mumbai. Well,
it was. And England were to go on to win 2-1 and then draw the final test to take the series 2-1. Joe Root, of course, made his debut in that last test match and scored a half century as well. There's been much said about that innings. Here's Sir Alistair Cook, but his class was evident right from the start, wasn't it? Even KP talks about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I remember, bowling to him, and again, he would early on play the reverse sweep, the normal conventional sweep. He'll go deep in the crease and just knock it around. Then he had a good, defence, like you say it. But this was a young kid, and you kind of felt like he was well mature, for his age. And I immediately felt so difficult. I thought I can't get him out. This young, Joe Root. And you can see why he was just ahead of his time. He had all the shots, and he was just so brave to play them.
Brilliant stuff, Monty. Always a pleasure to go back and revisit one of the great overseas performances, not just by England, but by any side. And that is proved by the fact that nobody's done it since. If you were to pick one moment from your career, the standout moment, the best one of all, would that be it, or would there be another one? What would feature?
Well, obviously, your debut, getting the great Sachin first, wicket was amazing. I remember when we, sang The Ring of Fire just during lunch at Mumbai in 2006, and then we won the Test match there. That was an amazing moment. But this was probably the best thing, winning a Test series in India. And I remember myself and Alistair Cook, we made my debut in Nagpur in 2006, and then for him to become captain and me playing alongside him, to Luton Town fans, Hatters, it was a fantastic memory and probably the highlight of my career for sure, and I'm sure the start of his captaincy career. He loved that. He started off with a win in India.
Well, it just goes to show it's one of the beauties of our country, really, the depth and breadth of the county game, where two spinners from Northampton can spin England to victory in India, and two Luton Town fans can come together as skipper and spinner.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.